Hello, I'm Ricky Lee, and today on the watch list, I'm joined by Dr. Sotirios Stergiopoulos, incoming chairman of a rebranded company from Roquefort by the name of Coil Therapeutics. The company has announced a proposed acquisition of the exclusive worldwide license to AO252, a precision oncology asset that could expand Roquefort's growing pipeline of targeted cancer therapies. Precision oncology continues to attract strong interest across the biotech sector as companies aim to develop treatments tailored to the specific biological drivers of disease. So, Tirios, welcome to the watch list.
Oh, thank you so much, Rick.
It's a pleasure to have you. So, tell us, precision oncology is becoming an increasingly important area in cancer drug development. To start, what exactly is AO252 and what makes it a differentiated opportunity within this space?
Ricky, thank you so much, and thank you for having us on to tell you the wonderful information about AO252 and what we're doing with the company. So 252 itself it's a novel target. It's a target that we know hasn't been worked on by almost no pharma company that we know of, but always remember there's always information that we just don't know exactly about. But it's a novel target, and it's also a novel means of uh, approaching the target using what we call a protein-protein interaction inhibitor. So the differentiators are many. And I think some of them are number one, obviously, the novelty of the target, its ability to work in a way that goes just beyond one mode of action. Many targets out there, especially in oncology, will either follow mitotic inhibition or they will do some sort of epigenetic interruption. But in essence, here we have a very rare target that actually works predominantly on DNA damage repair, mitotic inhibition, and also has a very huge effect in immunity. That makes it differentiated on its own, to be totally honest. Then when you look at some of the patterns of how it works, the fact that it's able to go to the blood-brain barrier and get into the brain at an exposure level that is very similar to the rest of the body. In fact, it's a 1-to-1 ratio, gives us the opportunity of what we see to be able to actually go after the target in the brain as well. So that's actually something that we're doing clinically, where we're going after metastatic disease of the body into the brain. And it's something where we find is extremely differentiated out there. So in general, AO252 has many differentiators, all very positive and all very positive for the patient.
Amazing stuff. And you speak about how this is novel, right? So when investors evaluate new oncology assets like this, understanding the potential market opportunity here is key, right? So how large is the addressable market for AO252, and which cancer types do you believe could become the most important targets here over time?
It's a great question. Thank you, Ricky. When you look at the opportunity here, the market could be quite vast. And what do I mean by that? We already know when we were first approved our IND by the FDA to get into clinical studies, we had looked at three indications. So it was triple negative breast cancer, ovarian, and endometrial. But what we've seen so far is there is a propensity for it to work in multiple solid tumors. And it's been sort of our goal, really focusing on solid tumors here. But we see between ovarian and prostate, the opportunities are huge. But we also have seen preclinically data that is very indicative of success in both gastric, metastatic to the brain, as I mentioned before. All these, if you put them together, you're looking at over 20 billion plus market. And I'm being very conservative when we look at some of the comparators that are out there that are working on just three indications that I mentioned, not the many that we can get into. Forget the potential also and the possibility, because what we see clinically, there's a huge safety positive here where we're an extremely safe drug, which allows us to be able to be combined. So you increase the market much more than just the 20 billion, even past the 100 billion, to be honest, when you look at all the potential indications that we can get into.
And so you're alluding here to how encouraging some of this like early phase 1 data is, but what have you seen so far, and what milestones should investors be watching out for over the rest of the year and beyond?
That's a great question. So we already had great indications from preclinical that there was going to be some sort of signal. The study that we started, we're in a phase 1 right now, dose escalation, with a second component, which is an expansion. The dose escalation was really initially started off, as I mentioned before, in 3 indications, but we've expanded it in October in 2025 to all solid tumors. So we're looking at all comers coming in. The study has been designed really for multiple purposes, but most important as a dose escalation is to find the right dose. So we're looking at what the potential minimum tolerated dose is at this point. We've already had indication from where we believe there's significant level to move up to based on exposure and PK data, allows us to move even further up on a dose, but already we've found that in patients, in where we call the cohort 4B, which is 80 milligrams twice a day, we had 3 out of 4 patients show clear regression signal. So it's what we call a CBR, clinical benefit ratio. So we had 75%, which is absolutely amazing considering that we haven't reached the level that we want to yet. One of the patients in ovarian had 30% reduction of the tumor and 8 months on treatment. More importantly, 0 safety issues whatsoever. So that gives us a significant confidence that we're moving in the right direction here. Another patient with endometrial had more than 30% reduction and was in the trial for more than 4 to 6 months. So we're clearly on the right track here clinically, knowing that once we get to that mean tolerated dose, we're able to get to a potential efficacy that we see as very strong, and we believe with the same safety signal, which will make this a huge success for patients out there that are looking to get real therapies that can actually change their lives.
Well, some absolutely compelling stuff there. Thank you so much for your time today, Sotirios.
Thank you. Thank you for having us over here, giving us the opportunity to tell you about the great work that we're doing.
Absolutely. Once again, that is Dr. Sotirios Stergiopoulos of Coil Therapeutics. For more on the company and its oncology pipeline, visit roquefortplc.com. That's all for this episode of The Watch List. I'm Ricky Lee. Make good choices today.